Hey, want to get started with you right away and help you develop your skill set so you know what you're doing when the time comes. So, what we're going to focus on right now is creating a document, a transaction through Instinet, which is available on Northstar MLS, and then sharing that document with a potential client for the purpose of getting their electronic signatures. So, sort of a two-step process. They're all in kind of the same place. But the only way to really get comfortable with this system is to play around and use it. I'm happy to demo it for you now, and then you can take your hand at giving it a shot when we're done. Here we go. We're going to get started. We are in the MLS, and we're going to go to Instinet right here on the home screen. First one there, the transaction desk, to get you to Instinet. As we load, we get to the main dashboard for an Instinet page. So here you can create a transaction file, you can create an individual file or a complete transaction, whatever you need to. Here you can create an Authentisign, so you can take a document you have created and send it for electronic signatures. So let's go ahead and create a transaction. So I'm going to start with a new client, John client. Let's assume he's a buyer, so I can choose the ER buyer packet. I don't know who he's going to buy yet, so I don't need to choose a source purchase what property he's buying. I could import that data, but let's assume that I don't, and I'm the buyer's agent. This is the wizard. If you don't want to use a wizard, you don't have to, but this will help make things simpler. So if we work through this first as the buyer, we would create the wizard. Now the important thing with the wizard to remember is, at the end of the day, they're only designed to help you fill in the gaps. If they're not, almost nothing in here are mandatory fields. So if you don't know the answer, just skip ahead, right? So we're assuming it's a residential listing. We don't know let's say for the time being, we don't know the purchase price. Let's say we haven't even got to that step yet. So we're just going to skip ahead because we don't know any of this stuff. I'm the buyer's agent. Indiana Realty is the buyer's broker. And now for the purposes of this exercise, where we don't even have a purchase agreement to write, we're just trying to create a agency relationship. These are all the various forms that we might need, so I'm just going to keep them all in here. That doesn't mean I have to use them all now, but we might need them, so let's go ahead and skip ahead. We've created a transaction file here, which with all the potential documents we might need. The ones that we all know that we need to do immediately when we're creating a buyer relationship is, of course, the agency disclosure, the affiliated business disclosure. Those two we have to give at first substantive contact, so I probably should have given them earlier. And then we have the contract for right to represent buyer. Those are the three we need to do right now. So those are the three that we're going to go ahead and use for the purposes of this exercise. So John client from Ed Kaiser, TBD, today's date, John client. Go here to save. Form saved. All right. Let's go back to this transaction. Agency relationship document. There's really nothing for us to fix here, but I just wanted to show you that that's there. So going back, and our contract for exclusive right to represent buyer. This makes us the buyer's agent. They're under contract with us. So today's date, John client, from today until, let's say, November sounds good. 6 months to a year, whatever. We always want to put a number in here. The average normal payout on a buyer rep contract in our market is 2.7, so we'll go there. We don't need anything here. You can leave this blank. You can write X's in here. I think for the general, it's good to just leave it blank. You can add stuff in here if you need to. Other provisions. This agreement shall not apply if buyer purchases brother's house in Maplewood, right? If you had some sort of exception or something that they wanted written in, this is a place where you could write that in. If it's a dual agency or not, we if they don't want dual agency, it's important for them to understand that that means we can't show them any Edina Realty listings. That's going to significantly close off their capabilities to look at all the houses on the market. So go ahead and pre-check this, but make sure you just talk to them about the consequences of not agreeing to dual agency. John client here. I'm going to sign there. And again, this stuff all gets pre-filled in for us here. And let's just say that this is good enough, right? We have created that document. You notice that that has previously been put in because of where we put it there. So going to save this as well. So we created the buyer rep brochure or buyer rep packet, the buyer rep contract, the agency disclosure, and the affiliated business disclosure. So now we want to send them to our client. How do I do that? We're ready to send these documents that we just created to our friend John client, who's going to become our client, right? So we've just created this is what's going to appear underneath the signature line wherever my client John client signs. If he is married, we could add another person. If we want to add advanced options, we can. I'm the buyer contact. I can add a participant. John client at So I've made him a signatory, and what that means is that this is where we're going to the email is going to go to for the purposes of signing. So here in the document section is where we can pull up the documents that we've created in his transaction folder, and we have the agency, the affiliated business, and the contract for exclusive right to representation. We can add those now because we created them previously, and we've got John as the buyer and me as the selling agent. Now I'll take a look at it. I'm going to take a look to see if this is the document we wanted to see. Yep, it's all filled in, right? If we would have pulled up a random file, it's not filled in at all. We could have we could check that now. But now we know that these are the documents we created. So step 4, design, is where we can actually go through, and what they mean by design is to put where the electronic signatures go. Now for a lot of these forms, because we use them so regularly, the system knows where the signatures are, so you don't really need to design all that much. See, this is already here for us. We didn't need it there. It's already here for us because the system knew where to put it, and also automatically adds the date. Didn't need that there. All good there. Now, agency relationship document and the affiliated business disclosure document, those are well, this one's not. This one is in a Edina Realty specific form. This one is not, but everyone has their own agency relationship disclosure with their own letterhead. So this is one where you have to drag and drop. So sign here. And on the affiliated business disclosure, sign here. We've just designed those, and when we're done, we hit next. So now when we're done designing, it's ready to go. This is the place where you can actually, you can just automatically send them, they'll just fire off, or this button here allows you to buyer rep contracts. Hey John, here is some paperwork I need you to review and sign before we can get started on that home search. I'll call you shortly, right? Something like that, but whatever. It's going to come through an email through Authentisign. It's not necessarily going to come from your email account, but it's going to be sent with your contact info at the bottom. So it's coming through the Authentisign system, not just your email. But yeah, so pretty sure it's got your name at the bottom anyway. But if you want to go through this, create a document and send it to yourself so you know what it looks like. Decide for yourself if you think you need to add any additional language. I think it's always better to add something rather than nothing. So here is where you'd hit save and it would send. Since I made up this email account, it's not going to go anywhere, so I'm not going to kind of go through that piece. But it's going to bring you back to this final setup, and this is where you'd hit send, and then it would be off sent to them. Once you send it to them, you're going to get an email when it's been viewed, and then you'll get another email when it's been signed. And when it's been signed by all the parties who need to sign, you'll get an email back with the PDF attached showing that it's been signed by all those people. Now then, at that point, you'd take it to the next step.